Hello everyone, Cindy here with Monarch Mom DIY. Thank you so much for joining me tonight for this compilation video of my 5 Christmas craft projects from this past week. We're going to make these super adorable snowmen out of Tide Pod containers. Now, I'm definitely not the first person to do this, but I've been wanting to do it for a while. You can see here that I did not worry about taking the labels off of my containers. I did give each container a good coat of white spray paint to try and cover most of the label, and then I came back over with my white Waverly chalk paint. I just preferred the finish that the chalk paint gave to the containers. So I'm going to let both of those dry. Now, taking a piece of cardboard, I'm going to peel off one of the layers on the front to get that nice corrugated look, and I'm going to take my orange Waverly chalk paint called Pumpkin, and I'm just going to paint a good section of this so that I can use this to make the noses for my snowmen. Now, I did get a couple of hats from Dollar Tree for my snowmen, but they didn't have any pom-poms on them. So I decided to take some of this gray yarn and my pom-pom maker, and I'm just gonna really quickly make a pom-pom to add to the top of one of the hats. So if you have not used one of these before, they're super easy. You just wrap a bunch of yarn, and then you're going to trim down the middle here. There's a little space for your scissors that's going to cut your pieces. You're going to go all the way around and then tie a piece of yarn in the middle to tie your pom-pom together. Once you have that knotted nice and tight, you can take your pom-pom maker apart and then go about fluffing and trimming your pom-pom. Now, I did keep the 2 long strings that I tied around the pom-pom. I am going to use a large needle, and I'm going to poke that through the top of the hat so that I can have my pom-pom on top, and inside the hat I'm going to knot those 2 long pieces of yarn to attach the pom-pom to the top of the hat. And then I'll go ahead and get that hat on the top of the larger Tide Pod container, as this will be our larger snowman. Then I had a kid's hat for the smaller snowman, and I already had this white pom-pom made, so I'm just gonna hot glue that to the top of the kid snowman's hat. Now, I did not come up with these faces. You do a Google search, snowman faces, and you'll have a million options. Just find one that you like, and then I'm just going to use a pencil first and draw this out, and then I'm going to go over it with a black paint marker from Walmart. And same thing for the face on the other snowman. I just found a different one that I liked, and I'm just going to trace it out with pencil and then go over it with my black paint marker. Now coming back to the cardboard, I'm just going to trace out a couple snowman noses. I forgot though when I was tracing them that I needed to go down instead of up, because when I cut it out it's going to be the opposite side, but whatever. Just trim it out, and you don't even have to draw it. You could just free cut and just make a couple snowman noses with the corrugated cardboard. I think it looks so cute. And then go ahead and hot glue those onto the front of your snowman's face. Once our noses are in place, we'll draw our mouths with pencil first and then with the paint marker. I did decide to add a little bit of blue to the larger snowman's eyes using a different color paint marker. And the last thing I'm going to do for our little snowman is I'm going to cut some skinnier strips from this Dollar Tree scarf and then glue that around the base of our Tide Pod container to give our snowman a little scarf. And here are my two finished snowmen made out of Tide Pod containers. I think they're so adorable. I hope you guys will give this a try. And really, I think the tip of spray painting your containers first and then painting them with chalk paint is definitely the way to go. Thanks so much. Today we are making these tumbling tower block candlesticks. We're going to use tumbling tower blocks, one of these light necklaces, and a couple of other pieces to embellish. So I am making 3 candlesticks. I've done these a couple times before. I'm always doing them a different color combination. I'm excited about today's blue and gold. I am going to make one candlestick that is 3 blocks tall, one that is 4 blocks tall, and one that is 5 blocks tall, just to give them differing heights. So for the 3 block tall candlestick, you'll see I need 6 pairs of blocks. For the 4 block tall candlestick, I need 8 pairs of blocks. And then for the candlestick that is 5 blocks tall, I'm going to need 10 pairs of blocks. You can see I'm lining them up here by pairs. I am gluing pairs together. One on the left is laying flat, and then the one on the right is on its side. So we're making 6 L shapes, basically, for this first candlestick. So I'm gluing all those together and I'm going to let them sit. That's why I have a mat down on my desk so the wood glue doesn't mess up my desk. Now I'm moving on to the next candlestick that is going to have 4 blocks tall. So we're gluing together those 8 pairs, and then we'll move on to the 10 pairs for our tallest candlestick. While those are drying, I'm going to take my light bulb necklace here and I'm going to remove 3 of the bulbs. It doesn't really matter which color because I'm going to be spray painting these gold. Now that my pairs of blocks are dry, I'm going to take 2 pairs and put them together in a square like this. So we're basically going to make a tube of blocks. So I'm putting glue on one of them and then putting them together. I think you can see how the 2 L's are fitting together to make that square of blocks. So our first smallest candlestick will have 3 of those squares. the middle one 4, and the tallest one 5. Now, once those are dry, we're now going to glue our square tubes together. I'm going to do this set of 3 for our smallest candlestick. Then I'm going to do 2 pairs for my second one. Let those dry before we glue them all the way together. And then we'll do a set of 3 and a set of 2 for our tallest candlestick, letting those dry before we glue them all the way together. Once those are completely dry, I'm going to take my sandpaper here and I'm just going to lightly sand those. Try to smooth them out because you know these blocks are not even or cut even the same size all the time. So we're just going to kind of smooth these out. So instead of looking like blocks, it's going to look like one cohesive piece. So we've got our 3, 4, and 5 blocks tall of our candlesticks. Now, once I've sanded those, I'm just going to wipe off any dust with my paper towel. And I'm really excited, like I said, to try this blue and gold combination this year. I am going to paint these with night sky. To go with the color scheme I've chosen here, I decided to take these unpainted wood slices and I'm going to darken them up a little bit with my antique wax. So I'm just brushing that on pretty thick to get it nice and dark, and then we'll wipe off the excess with a baby wipe. And now coming back to our candlesticks, I am going to make them a little bit more rustic looking by sanding them lightly, distressing the tops and the edges. I am using a 220 grit sandpaper for this. And now we are ready to put our candlesticks together. I'm just using hot glue. You could use wood glue for this part if you want to make sure it doesn't come apart, but I have never had a problem. I am just now hot gluing my tube of blocks to the middle of each of my wood slices. Next, I'm going to grab this wired, I believe they're called pitberry garland. They are really easy to wrap because they have the wire in them. So I'm just going to secure it at the bottom there and kind of wrap it and press the wire around the candlestick as I'm working my way up. As it turned out, my 3 block tall candlestick, I ended up wrapping around 3 times. 4 times wrapped around the middle one and 5 times wrapped around the tall one. Now we're just going to take some hot glue in the middle of our candlestick and on the bottom of our light bulb and glue that onto the top. Now this step is optional. I decided to take a little bit of jute twine and just wrap it a few times around the base of the light bulb just to cover up where the threads of it are, give it a little bit more texture, a little bit more farmhouse look. But again, this is optional. I don't think it's necessary, but I just felt like doing it today. And here are my finished candlestick trio. I think these are so beautiful. Let me know in the comments what you think about this project. I have made these a few times and I love them each and every time. I always make them a little bit different. Well, thanks for the craft project video. We are going to make this adorable rope tree using mostly Dollar Tree items. I've got a chunky circle, a chunky star, some nautical rope, a styrofoam cone, I believe came from a craft store, and some pitberry garland from Dollar Tree. So to start this off, I'm going to use some hot glue to go the first time around of my styrofoam tree at the bottom. Be very careful. Your hot glue may melt your styrofoam a little bit if you use too much or too high of a temperature, but I'm just going to hot glue this first bit so that it will stay attached, and then we'll wrap the rest of the way up of this first piece of rope. Once we get to the end of this first bunch of rope, we will hot glue that as well, and then start our next piece with some hot glue. I did use 2 full packages of the nautical rope for this tree. Now, when I got to the end of the second rope, I did have a little bit of the styrofoam sticking out, so I just took some scissors and trimmed my styrofoam tree a little bit so that I could wrap the rope the rest of the way around and then wrap it also to cover the top of the cone. Next, I'm going to take the chunky wood circle and a block from my stash. You could use one of the wood dice from Dollar Tree as well for the cube. I'm just going to paint these with truffle brown. These are going to be the base, and then a short little trunk for the tree just to raise it up a little bit. Once those are dry, I'm going to hot glue the block to the center of the circle and then put a little bit more glue on the top of the block and glue our styrofoam tree to it. Now you could wrap whatever you'd like around your tree. You could do some of the really thin tinsel garland they have at Dollar Tree. You could do strand of bells. I'm going to do some of these red pitberries that I had in my stash. So I'm just holding that spot on the top where I hot glued it, hopefully till it's secure. And then I'm just going to wrap my pitberries maybe about 5 or 6 times around my tree. Once I get to the bottom, I will trim that and then secure it underneath the bottom of the tree with a little bit of hot glue. You can see I spray painted my chunky wood star with gold spray paint. Of course, you can paint it whatever color you'd like. I'm going to add a little jute twine bow to cover up the hole at the top of the star, and then we're going to hot glue this to the top of our tree. And here's our super cute finished nautical rope Christmas tree made with just a few items. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments what you think. Video, we are going to jazz up a couple of pillar candles from Dollar Tree. We're going to use the candles, some rub-on transfers, jute twine, and some bells from Dollar Tree. Now, this isn't the fun part, but it is a necessary step to get a nicer finished project. I'm going to take the heating tool here and heat it up and get as much of this sticker off as I can. I'm going to tell you, these stickers are on there. So I'm going to heat it up, peel it, really try not to burn your fingers. And then with what's left of the sticker, I'm going to use some Goo Gone to remove that. So I have a nice clean surface to start crafting with. Now I am choosing to use a couple of rub-on transfers from Monarch Mom DIY.com made by Magnolia Design Co. You can use this same idea using other stickers that you then Mod Podge. You can also use window clings from Dollar Tree as well. This is just quick and easy and what I had on hand, but you can take this idea and modify it. I will put the links for these rub-on transfers in the description of the video if you are interested. I love the vintagey, old-timey Christmas look of these, and they're super easy to put on, especially to glass. They're really easy, they grab on. So I'm applying the rub-on transfer like a sticker. Once I peel the backing off here, you can see I'm going to lay that down on my candle and then burnish it so that it transfers from the plastic sheet on top to the candlestick. Now you can see I was trying to peel this up because I did not get it straight, but we are going to fix that. It started to release when I tried to pull it up. So we're going to go ahead and go with it, burnish it down, peel off the plastic cover sheet. So here I'm showing you at the bottom where it is uneven, but we're going to take some jute twine. I'm on the back side now of that second candle. And first I'm going to, there's a little notch there. We're going to take hot glue a little bit at a time and lay our first row of jute twine in that notch. And then I am just going to wrap it until I get down to the rub-on transfer. I'm doing it all the way down there. Again, like I said, because my transfer is not straight, I was in a little bit of a rush. And so we're just going to cover the jute twine all the way down to the rub-on transfer. Then just add a little dot of hot glue there to finish off her wrapping on the back, and we'll trim off that piece. I'm also going to do this same thing on the bottom of this candle. And again, finish it off with a little dot of hot glue and then trim that jute twine. And we'll do the same thing to our second candle. Once we have them both done, I'm going to take a few of these little gold jingle bells from Dollar Tree. I'm going to string 2 of them on a piece of jute twine and attach them at different lengths to the top of each of the candles. Now that I have my twine with the 2 bells hanging, I'm going to put some hot glue there and glue the knot right to the hot glue. We'll let that sit for a second. And then I'm going to make just a simple jute twine bow to glue right on top of that knot. And of course, we'll do the same thing to the second candlestick as well. And here they are, our jazzed up Dollar Tree pillar candles. Love this, just adding a couple bells, some jute twine, and a rub-on transfer. Let me know project video. Today we're making this cute snowman out of a ceiling fan blade, a Dollar Tree wall tile, scarf, and a 5-gallon paint stick. So the first thing I'm going to do after removing the hardware from the fan blade is I'm going to scuff it up just a little bit using some 220 grit sandpaper. These fan blades, especially the ones from the 80s and so on, have kind of a shiny texture to them. So we're going to rough it up so that it'll hold on to our paint. I'm going to give it 2 good coats of white Waverly chalk paint. Next, taking my wall tile from Dollar Tree, I'm going to give this, just the middle section here, a coat of our ink or our black Waverly chalk paint. We're going to use part of this for the snowman's hat. Once that's dry, I'm going to cut a piece out of the center here. I started out doing the little piece at the bottom plus the full square in the middle for the snowman's top hat. You're going to see here, I'm going to end up thinking that that's too big, so I'm just going to end up using the middle square. Next, for the brim of the hat, I'm going to cut a piece off of this 5-gallon paint stir stick, and I've marked it there. I'm just going to use my miter box and saw to trim that down. Then after I lightly sand the cut edges just to get any splinters off, I'm going to give this a coat of the black chalk paint as well. Next, for the nose for our snowman, I took a piece of cardboard from a box and I peeled one of the top layers off to show the corrugated cardboard underneath. And I'm going to give that a coat of my pumpkin Waverly chalk paint for the nose. Now coming back to our square from the wall tile, I am going to hot glue this right at the top of the fan blade, covering up where the hardware was and getting that nice and centered. Then I'm going to take a little bit of white chalk paint on a chippy brush and just go over that lightly to add some texture, bring out the raised areas of the wall tile. Then using a little bit more hot glue, we're going to glue that piece of the paint stir stick a little bit at an angle and then add a little bit of white paint with that same chippy brush as well. Next, for the eyes, I'm going to do really simple eyes for this one. I did draw these ovals with pencil first, and then I'm just tracing them and filling them in with a black paint marker from Walmart. Coming back to our cardboard now, I'm just going to cut a triangle nose now that our paint is dry. And we're going to just glue this onto the face of the snowman, kind of at an angle below the eyes there. And I just felt like going with a squiggly mouth today. You could do the little circles to look like stones as well. Next, I'm going to add a little bit of decoration to the snowman's hat using a couple pieces of this greenery from Walmart and then some red berries and a couple more mini pine cones. Next, taking a piece I cut from a Dollar Tree winter scarf, we're just going to tie it around the neck of our snowman. And below that, I decided to add 3 little black buttons. And the last thing I'm going to do is take my white paint marker now and give a little bit of detailing to the eyes, just a little bit of kind of, what is that, a rounded like edge there on the front of the eyes. And then I'll do a white circle as well. And here is our finished fan blade snowman. I love how it turned out. I think it's so adorable. Let me know what you guys think in the comments if you've made one of these or if you'd like to. Here are some other videos that you can watch. Until we see you again tomorrow. Take care.